Cool.
All right. Hello, welcome.
Thank you, Lisa.
It is
Happy to be
good to
here.
be in conversation with you again.
Yeah, always with you.
And for anybody who is crazy enough to not know you yet, do you want to start off by just sharing who you are and what you do?
Sure. I am John Patrick Morgan, and I help everybody to have what I want for myself. It's really like an expansion of my own like values and desire, which is freedom, a loving way of being, love between me and myself, me and others, and power, the power to create and do whatever I want to do. Um, so I help people to have that in their life so that they can have everything they want internally and externally, like the internal fulfillment and peace, the external desires, material success, the lifestyle experiences that they want. And I do that primarily through being in conversation with people because I believe that the conversation I have with people is a model for the conversation they have with themselves. And really, the conversation we have with ourselves is what creates our being, our way of being, that creates our experience, that creates our behaviors and actions, that creates our results and creates our life. So I think it's as simple as that, that if I just try to have the highest quality conversation I can with myself and then be in conversation with people, that spreads it.
So I already feel like there's so much richness and depth and complexity to what you
Mm,
just talked about. And um, I know that it hasn't always looked like that's what I've wanted.
hmm
So if I was to hear, I help people create what I have, and that's love, power, and freedom.
Yeah.
If there's somebody who hasn't made the connection yet as to how powerful those three ways of being and feeling
hmm
are,
Yeah.
and they're thinking, that's not what I want this person to
hmm
change over here.
hmm
Or,
hmm
I want to get somebody to see me in my most empowered state and they don't get
hmm
me.
hmm
Um, what would you, how would you work with somebody to help them see something about that?
Mm. Well, like I said, it's the reason I want those things is so that I can have everything that I want. And so I would start right where those two things are. I'm not like, oh, you can't have that. You got to have this. It's like, no, this is the means to everything. So if you want that person to change, I can help you change them. I can help you be more powerful and be the kind of person that changes people, right? I can get you that. It's not, I'm not like, oh, you shouldn't try to change people. It's like, no, that's not the world I live in, you know? And then they'll be like, okay, cool. You're gonna help me change them. Like, great, great. So what's going on? And then they'll tell me what's going on about that. And I'll be like, how are you creating that? Oh, what? How are you creating this person behaving that way? Who are you being that's drawing that behavior out? Who are you being that's enabling that? How are you seeing the world that even makes that behavior a thing for you? How are you creating the frustration in your own experience with that behavior so that that thing out there that you want to change is a problem for you and nobody else? And suddenly they start to access power to create something different. And either they become somebody who's worthy of that different behavior from that person, and then it flowers beautifully, or they become somebody who doesn't want it anymore. And either way, they have more power and they're more free and they're more loving. So I get what I want, they get what they want, we all win. I forget what the other example was, but I would approach it the same way. Like, what do you want? Cool, let's go get it.
Mm. I want to ask some questions around because I know you have this work coming up in Florida
hmm
is it called the shadow work? Is it called the American Dream? What have you
Well,
named it?
the event is called American Shadow, and it's about helping people to create the American dream or whatever their dream is. I'm just riffing on America right now, but like, yeah, I've been helping people to create their dreams for 15 years professionally, like really my whole life. I've never stopped and I've helped others. But I'm particularly interested in what are the things outside of our awareness that are stopping us. And we always are talking about like, oh, what are the ideas that I know that are in my way, my limiting beliefs, like this, the really deep stuff, the stuff that like you can't even see. That's the stuff I've become more fascinated with in recent years. And particularly the cultural collective things that limit us, like the common ideas. instead of like my own personal traumas, like the ideas that pretty much everybody around me has that stop me from. That's why I bring the kind of American and the cultural element to the things that limit us as well.
What kind of things?
Well, like particularly in America, and when I say America, I mean I know you're in the UK, I lived in London 7 years, and it's a culture. It doesn't live within the bounds of the United States. It's a culture of Western idealism of productivity and success, right? That's really what I'm pointing to. So, um, I think that there's kind of a double-sided fear and shame around success. There is the more classic and obvious one, which is like if I don't have the success that either I want or people around me expect me to have, then I feel ashamed for that. And I might not consciously be in touch with that shame, but on some level, there's shame for it. And paradoxically, that shame will limit me from taking the action to go and create that success because the fear of it not working out is too confronting for some people. For some others, like that shame creates like a fight response and an aggression, and they go and they do it and they create success to the abdication of their own true purpose or fulfillment, or to the abdication of, the good of the people around them. So there's that too. That's not typically what I'm working with. I'm working with people who typically hold back from expressing themselves for a good reason in the sense what I say, because like the people that I tend to work with, they're interested in love and they have compassion and they're not just going to, trample on other people for their own success. So there's that shame of not having success that will hold a lot of people back. And then on the flip side, especially for conscious people who see what this like nonstop train to of self-expression and in the American style, like bigger, 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 more, more, more. They see the cost that has on the whole, on the well-being of the planet, of the world, of society, and so they then feel their inherent desire to express more, to grow, to make more money. They feel shame for even having that desire because they can see how it has, in other expressions, contributed to the greater problems in the world. And so
Mm.
it's like a double-sided shame. It's like I'm damned if I do, I'm damned if I don't. And so I'm just kind of stuck. And I think when people can start to come into contact with the shame that they have as, well, first of all, just to see it and then to realize that, oh, it's not personal, it's collective, there's actually a beautiful like togetherness and you feel more part of something in a kind of an interesting way. In the same way that we feel connected through love, we can kind of feel connected through our shame. I don't mean like in a toxic way, but it's like, oh, wow, I'm not alone in this. And it's not as
And
overwhelming.
have
Yeah.
this is something that you've been exploring recently for yourself.
Hmm. Hmm.
Have you always been able to look at it this way?
No, I mean, I started shadow work, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago. But I had a big breakthrough on my vision quest, um, which I did like, I guess, a year and a half ago now.
What's that? A vision quest?
A vision quest is, yeah, sorry, it's a term that I only learned a couple of years ago, where you go out into the wilderness. It comes from like native tribes and things like where they go out into the wilderness with minimal things. So, you sleep on a mat and don't have any food for a number of days. So you fast, you're intentionally exposed to the elements, exposed to nature, exposed to a certain amount of risk, depending where in the world you are. Some people do it where there's bears. I was here in Maui, there's no bears. And the point of it is kind of being stripped bare and fasted and being exposed to nature is to put you in contact with something deeper, God, spirit, your intuition, the energies, and as a way of coming in contact with a vision, for your life. So I went because I went for 3 days because I really felt that I was lacking a vision. Incidentally, I came back from it letting go of the need for a vision and realizing that my life's an adventure. All I need is a point on the horizon to move towards, and then I figure it out. And so it's been a lot easier to just keep creating since then. But where I did my vision quest was on a lava field here in Maui on the backside of the volcano that I live on. Um, so there's no humans around. I didn't see anybody for the 3 days, and I was really far. And I found a cave. So like when lava flows from the volcano, it makes these massive underground caves, and then sometimes there's openings you can go down into them. It's pretty cool. So I found this one where there was nobody around, and I kind of set up my circle of stones up top and did my most of my work up on top of the cave. But I went down inside to do some shadow work process. And to keep a long story short, like this process kind of took. I was directing it at first, but then it kind of became self-directed, and some kind of energy was unfolding, and it was like I was being carried by this yeah, by this energy. And I was exploring like one of the classic fears of like being disliked. Like, I need to be liked. Like, who doesn't? Not on some level, everybody has that going on. So I was doing my version of it, and what happened is I went from exploring the need to be liked into like this spontaneous. It was like a spontaneous combustion, and it just flipped. And I started having this like profound experience of joy in being disliked.
Mm.
And it was like the most like crazy experience because all my life I had like tried so hard to make sure that I wasn't disliked. And then suddenly I was imagining all these people spitting on me, hating me, yelling at me, pushing me out, and just like an ecstasy. It wasn't like erotic, but it was so pleasurable. And it was like the fucking best experience ever. And I was so happy to be hated. And I was so free to be feared and disliked and despised and deigned and scorned. Um, so I experienced a part of me that had always been there inside. And what changed is I no longer like feared being disliked because like, oh, there's a part of me that actually likes that. So that part gets to have its space too.
So
Um, yeah.
you talk on your like kind of description for the event about
Mhm.
not just understanding your shadows, but living them in the mind and body. So this
Yeah,
is what you're
I'd
pointing
be
to.
careful with living them, meaning because living them, yeah, living them, I would say more like embodying them and experience them in a safe context with behavior that's appropriate, for everybody involved. Like, I'm not like, oh, now let me go out in the world and do things that make me hated. Like,
Hmm.
it's not about like just some kind of moral relativism and, just flipping from good to bad. It's not being afraid of these things to experience them in your body. Right. And so that's the thing that's shifted. And it's not like I've gone out there and been like more of an asshole or something like
Yeah.
that. But I have been less afraid of being seen that way. That's the shift. And
Yes.
so I still want to make choices to be good and to be likable, but not from a fear of being disliked. That's the difference.
Yes. So there's and is the fear, does the fear still feel like it's present, but you're with it differently? Or the fear seems to be,
Both,
mm,
both. It still comes up because that's an old pattern. But when it does come up, first of all, it comes up less aggressively and less often, but still does. If I get like some criticism on like some video that I made, which I get plenty of,
mhm,
there's still that like, that little gut punch. But and you maybe even saw what my face just did because that's what happens. And there's a smile too.
mm,
There's a joy. It's kind of weird. It's almost like it sounds almost like maniacal in a way. It's like, why do you like smile when somebody hates you? Are you like a psychopath now? And it's not that. It's not like, yeah, let me make them hate me more. It's just, I think it's the joy of the innocence of a child.
mm,
In fact, some recent work that I was doing where I was embodying this energy, I suddenly, and I was videotaping myself, so I could like play it back and watch like what's it look like from the outside when I try on this energy. Then I watched it back and I noticed that I was smiling while in this like expressing this darkness. And suddenly my mind jumped to my son who's 9. And he's got the sweetest dimple when he smiles. And sometimes like he'll do some behavior that we think is inappropriate and we find out about it and we say, hey, Asher, we want to talk to you about this thing. We start talking about it and he's like, oh, he knows what's coming,
mm.
that like I did something bad. And before he can like even control it, his dimple pops out and he starts to smile. And in my chest, I got like this, no, you're not supposed to think it's funny or good. Like that's bad. You should be upset about that. And I get like contracted. But suddenly I saw, wow, he's just 9. He's learning that certain things are bad and wrong, right? And I just saw the innocence in him being free to have like innate natural joy with the fact that he lied about something or stole something. And I
Mm.
was like, oh, that is a part of all of us. And it's innocent. And it doesn't mean it's appropriate or that we want to like express it in this world. It's not the way we want to be living in society, but we're not inherently wrong or something for having that part with us. So it's kind of helped me to see my own innocence and to see everybody's, everybody's gonna have a different opinion too. So there's just a lightness with it when it comes up as well. It feels like an ally now instead of an enemy within.
How do you feel like it's changed the way that you do life?
Um, yeah, it's made me more free to express myself for sure, to put things out there with less worry about being disliked, holding back less. Um, and um, what else would I say? Um, I mean that this is in particular the fear of being disliked, right? That one in particular. So um, yeah, that would be the primary place that I see that it's shifted things. Yeah, being happy to be disliked is just like I might be a little bit more curt or direct and stop trying to like follow people around to make sure that they're okay after I've said something. It's like they'll be all right. I'm okay, they're okay. Life goes on. It's just
Mm,
easier,
mm.
you know.
And why would people work with you specifically on shadow work? Because there's lots of people who do shadow work. So why do you think
Yeah.
people would work with
I
you?
mean, first of all, like the best answer, the number one answer would just be like people got to pick their flavor based on some like non-rational thing. Like it's just because I like chocolate ice cream, so that's what I like. Like, there's just that, of course, for everybody. But, um, zooming out from that a little bit, like I think that what, all right, I'll just acknowledge it. I'm hesitating because it sounds a little egoic to say, but like it's the fact and it's what people have said to me that people really value being in the presence of me and my work because it all comes from my own personal exploration. And it's like, it's not like I read it and then I'm trying to teach it and trying to figure out as I go. It's very much an expression of how I've navigated my own internal world and created in my experience. And in fact, so every conversation I'm in, I'm being with somebody in the way that I have been and would be with myself, going back to where I started about conversation. And so I think people really like that experience. It feels safe. It feels something that you can trust. And also, there is something that's like direct and like a transmission when you work with somebody who's done the work, so to speak. Um, I received a message from my new coach this week that said to me, being being in your energy is making me more powerful. And I have a commitment that every coach I hire, their life will improve by me being their client. I didn't actually tell him that. I thought about it, but it kind of lives in me. So that's part of the story. But part of it is just like when you focus on developing a certain state of being and way of being, that becomes a value that you can't turn off.
Mm,
And wherever you go, wherever you are, whoever you're with, they're experiencing that value. We bleed into each other and who we're being. And so my ideas and the processes that I teach and the conversation is a big part of the value in the offering, but just the field of my energy, the expanse of my presence is of value too. And I have that only because of exposing myself to other people who have that as well. I mean, every time I'm in conversation with you, the expanse of my ability to be present increases. Just the way that you ask and listen is like I've said to you this before, like always the best experience interviews I've ever had. I've been doing this 15 years. So and you can't stop that. You can't turn that off, right? Like just who you are, the way that you listen creates. Um, so that's why people should work with Lisa.
mm. Well, thank you.
You're
I
welcome.
I actually was thinking about because I knew we were going to have this conversation, and I was thinking about experiences that I'd been in recently. And it's just I just want to emphasize everything that you're sharing, and a lot of the work that I have done on shadows, I think, has come from our container.
Mm,
Um, because you have this ability, I think, to stay with someone
mm,
um even when the shadow is not clear, like even the shadows that are in the awareness of like I do this, or I'm afraid of this, and it's like easy to verbalize, and that makes it easy for someone to see kind of what's going on. But
mhm,
you have the ability, and because of everything you're sharing, I think, of like doing that work for yourself, you can see beyond what's being said, and you have this presence and this capacity to hold a space that's there's no focus on you. It's just on like what's here and who's with me.
Mm,
And that patience, I think, is eventually you get to the really deepest layers of like,
mm,
that's the thing. That's the thing. And often it's so well hidden because someone's like, I don't want to look at that.
mm-hmm,
And it
mm-hmm,
might not be because they have a judgment on it for themselves, like subconsciously it's like I don't have a judgment that that's a bad thing about me, but it's just a
mm-hmm.
very scary arena to
Yeah.
go explore in. So I think
Mm-hmm,
you're really good at that, and I can see the impact of the work that we've done like day in day out now.
mm.
I'm in a
It's beautiful.
conversation and I can feel, it's like
Mm-hmm.
I can feel, hang on, I'm having a reaction here internally. Like I
Mm,
wonder what that's about. And I
mm,
can just get curious about it and take the focus off of the pattern of behavior that's going on over here that's
mm-hmm,
annoying or upsetting or irritating, and look and see like what's the value that's being triggered, where have I
mm-hmm.
come away from safety because of something that I'm believing
Oh,
about
yeah, well
this
said.
pattern of behavior.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
that's that
yeah.
power, love, power, and freedom coming back in.
Mm-hmm. Mm. That's beautiful. Yeah.
um what would you say is a very, very common shadow that is going to come up for many people in this work?
Well, the money one, we're going to spend a whole day talking about money.
Mm,
It's so cultural. It's so common. It's kind of got those two sides too. If I don't have money, I'm not enough. And if I have money, I'm an asshole. It's like,
mm,
okay, great. Let me just stay where I am, and that still doesn't feel good. So, getting free in that, a classic one is like around the specific practical expression of that is I help a lot of coaches to increase their income through increasing their power and then being paid a lot more money, attracting more opportunities just through their way of being. And so when people start to get confidence and raise their fees, which they had aversion to before because they were, doubting their value or seeing that as whatever, not right. Um, and then they get attached to that fee and then they
mm,
can't lower it because that would
mhm,
mean that I'm not worth that much. And so one of my favorite things to do is to challenge my clients to lower their fees once they've started playing that game. Because once you can go both ways without attachment or aversion, then you're kind of really free to be with whatever. Like the
mm,
real goal for the high fee coaching game for me was to get free.
mm,
Like I could have kept playing that. I'm not really playing that game anymore. It's like $150,000 paid up front for a client. It's like, okay, I've ticked that box. I've done it a few times now. It's like I'm interested in something else. But it was also like I got to the point where like, oh, $250,000 for coaching is just the same game. And it's just like so it's like once it becomes like you're just free to do whatever. And it's just a matter of time and figuring out like what's the conversation and what's the like how do I provide value to a person at that level and you know um so I'm kind of going in I feel like I'm going far from your initial question, but oh no, it was about what's the main thing? Money. Yeah, money's the thing. Yeah, like sex and money are the two biggest energy like activators, right? Like anything of, intimacy and money like just bring up all our deepest stuff.
mm,
It's security and connection like at the deepest level, right? Like it's like staying alive, It's like that's those two things connect to. So and obviously money is such an important thing like on the material practical realm too. So I feel like that's the place that it's most fun to work with people. That's where I do 80% of my work. Like it's around business and money. I love helping people to make money and to have the freedom, the financial freedom to have the lifestyle they want. But I also love it because it brings us into the deepest work.
mm. Yeah. And is it, so you just talked about sex, relationships. Is it for couples as well, or is this work best done
Yeah.
individually?
Oh, I don't have a distinction there about which is best. It's best done. It's just best done. So like if I have a reduced ticket price for intimate couples, but that's just because I have a lot of, couples in my world that I think, if they're going to come together, that's sweet. I'd like to incentivize that, but it's not like it's for relationships in particular. I just don't draw a strong distinction between the different contexts of people's life that my work is for. So if you're, two business partners or an intimate couple, gay, straight, if it's, not about relationship at all, just about business, this doesn't matter. It's all
Mm,
conversation with self. It all
mm,
is intimate because it's emotional, right? And so, whatever the doorway is into the work, works for me. Um,
Mm.
because I'm working at a level that's like deep enough that it touches everything. So we can work on one area of life and it will affect every area of your life positively. So,
Yeah.
people pick the door that they start with. Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
I love that you said conversation. It's all conversation with self.
Yeah, it
Um,
is.
because going back to that, the start of this conversation, it's like, I want to change that person. I can help you change
Hmm.
that person, but
Hmm.
actually, it's still conversation with self. You know, some people come in thinking,
Yeah.
"Oh, you're gonna help me change that person through
Yeah.
focusing on this person." But I remember you
Hmm.
saying that to me around like, "I'm going to be working on who you're being."
Yes.
Um,
Yeah. The thing is, it's not like a bait and switch. It's actually very true for me that I'm going to work on that person. It's just that I believe that person lives inside me.
mhm. Say more
Right.
about that because that would be so
Well,
confusing to some people.
yeah, like there's my wife's name is Kalpna, which stands for imagination in Hindi.
Oh,
Um, yeah, and she is a person in the world that I know, and her mother knows her as well. But do you think we know the same Kalpna?
no.
No fucking way. We know her very differently, and her friends know her differently. And so which one is the real one? Oh, I know the real one. Really? Or is who she is actually who she actually is the product of whatever she's got going on over there and the person she's in relationship with? I think it's the latter. I think it's like who a person is lives in the space between two people. Not just because this person's experiencing it differently, because what comes out of them, the behavior they express, who they actually be in the world. If there was the ability for some independent observer to watch, they'd be like, oh, Kalpna is a different person with Lisa than she is with JP. Like, because
Mm,
people are. And so who she is and who she's being is the product of whatever her patterns are and what my patterns and perceptions are. And so I'm always going to get the one that I'm in relationship with. And so because who everybody that I meet and know is the product of them and me, and I can't ever just meet the naked neutral them without me being exposed. It's like the observer effect, right? If you look at something, it changes.
mhm.
If I walk in the room, Kalpna becomes somebody.
I-
She's Kalpna subscript JP in that moment. That's the only one I'll ever know. What were you gonna
yeah.
say?
No, I feel like this is so powerful for people to really hear.
Mm,
There's so much gold in what you're sharing here.
thanks for slowing it down.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know if I can even articulate it back because it's like I always have this like visceral feeling of like that land, like things land, and then it lands deeper than I'm able to find the words to describe it. But there's something
Hmm.
really magical about what you're sharing because there's many, you've come at this conversation, this specific thing many times during this conversation already.
Yeah.
But there was something about the way you just shared it about how a person is different when they're with different people. And
Yeah.
it's still authentic. It's not, they're not putting on an act here, this person
100%.
or this person.
No.
It's like that piece where you're talking about who am I being that's creating this person to be this way with
Right.
me. And let's say I don't feel safe with someone, I'm going to be a very different person
Right.
with that person than I am with somebody who really makes me feel heard, seen, understood, safe. But I'm still the same
Hmm.
person.
You're the same. You're still the same something,
Mm-hmm,
but
mm-hmm,
maybe we use the word person to represent what we are as the product of us being present with another being, right?
mm,
Maybe our personhood is not, there's no true person. Maybe person is the product of being with. And so there's something that is me that doesn't change, but that to me that has nothing to do with behavior or expression or even thinking. That at the deepest level, it's like maybe soul or consciousness itself is where I sustain. Um, but like the more I let go of this idea that I'm a unique individual that is uninfluenced by external circumstances and I remain true to myself no matter what, it's like that is just an illusion. This idea of the material thinking self as like independent. That's the fucking part of the American shadow. This independent self. It's that like creates more problems. I mean, it's a great stage of development, but you got to at some point transcend that and see the fact of our interdependency. It just is.
mm.
And then there's a relaxedness that comes when you stop trying to be hyper independent in everything. You know,
Mm.
what do you see?
I think I'm still on what I saw a minute ago.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah,
um,
count the subscript JP. I mean, that might be the first time I've used the word subscript, but that really nails it for me. Like, let's just imagine your former business partner joined the Zoom meeting. Suddenly, I'm now with Lisa subscript JP subscript that person. Would you imagine that you would be different, whether you want to or not? Could you not?
I would 100% be different.
Yeah, and that's not wrong. It's not like now you're being the
Hmm.
fake Lisa. We
Hmm.
are the product of the people that we're present with. To me, that's beautiful. If we can just
Hmm.
embrace that.
Yeah, and I think that where I was going in my mind was just like the power of um like if somebody is feeling like their relationship is on their last legs,
Hmm.
and it's and I've been in conversations with this with people where they're literally talking about it like they've given up already,
Hmm.
and I'm like, it's not gone, like, but
Hmm.
you're gonna make it go. and
Yes.
and that way of like seeing like, oh, how am I contributing to getting this version of someone, and if they could see that this version is a version,
Hmm.
and this there's a completely different version available to them in
Yeah.
any minute, and
Yeah.
they have so much more agency than they're realizing over this.
Right.
Whether the ego will allow them to go there is another thing,
Hmm.
but that's where the shadow work comes in, and that's where you get
Exactly.
freedom, right? But yeah, I also, just to come back to your point, no, I would 100% be different. But I
Yeah.
love
So
that
would
about
I.
me, actually,
Yeah.
because some of my work was about being really true and loyal to my own inner wisdom
Hmm.
and my boundaries. And
Hmm.
so there's a leadership in there that I've developed, which is
Hmm.
unapologetic.
Hmm.
No matter what anyone thinks, you should be, you can
Yeah.
come at
Yeah.
me
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
the shoulds of like, you should forgive, you should forget, you should, and I would
Hmm.
just love myself deeply in a
Hmm.
way that I haven't really truly experienced in this situation before, where I'm so free to say no, no
Mm.
way.
Mm. Mm. Mm.
And it comes now. Do you remember we used to talk about creating from fear and creating from love?
Yeah, of course.
And it comes now from love.
Mm. Yeah.
So it's a very different feeling that I've moved into.
Yeah, good.
And my answer
Awesome.
is still no.
Good. 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 Yeah, there's a difference between no from love and no from fear. Huge difference.
Mm,
Yep.
yeah. So what else would you like to share in the time that we've got um, remaining today?
Hmm. Um, I think that what I'm really seeing is in my work is the kind of the emergence of a culture for the coaching world that meets the needs of today. My company is called We Are Creating. It used to just be called Creating, but I added We Are to it. Um, and really, there's like a collective um, attitude and energy in the work around this shift from coaching as a thing that people do to get people results, moving away from that, away from like the skill set. Not that the skills aren't important too, but centering on um, really becoming a quality of person, a kind of person that through being present with you, there's value because of how your way of being is exceptional in some way. And so I really, I think, well, I guess what I'm sharing, what I want to share is that like, I really see the possibility for the coaching world to become um, a world of people who aspire to be a contribution to humanity through the quality of their character, and instead of a skill set necessarily, which means that they will develop skill set because the way that you advance the quality of your character is to advance the quality of the conversation you have with yourself, and the conversation you have with others is a skill and ability that's founded on the conversation you have with yourself anyway. And
Mm,
so it still advances that, but I think it centers it in a place that's better for the world and where we're headed and what we need. And also, especially with the advent of AI, I feel like this is a great response to AI coming for a portion of the coaching industry, because if all you can do is ask questions that you know, demonstrate distinctions and create options for people, then you're kind of your job's under threat, really. I mean, I've already seen it. I have an AI company that has an AI coach. It's taking clients from people, including me. And at the same time, I'm still creating clients because there's something that I offer that's transcendent to that. And I think that for coaches that, you know, that lean into that, they're going to continue to have success and become more sought after because you're going to want that real human experience. And who you're going to want it from? You're going to want it from somebody who's being something exceptional in some way, the most present, the most free, the most loving, the most kind, the most bold, the most powerful, the most something.
Mm,
And so that's what we really focus on. Like, what are you going to be the most at, the best at? Because once you are, then this business becomes really simple. You just have to walk into a room and then people, who are you? Can you help me? You know, you don't need like funnels and lead magnets when you generate a way of being that stands out like that.
yeah. And the gateway to that way of being for me always comes back to freedom, freedom to be
Hmm.
yourself, freedom to be
Hmm.
the essence of love and
Yeah.
power. And yeah, yeah. Well, lucky for us.
Lucky for all of us. Yeah.
AI is not coming for us.
No, yeah, exactly. No, it's trying, but yeah, it's a wild time. I love playing with it for two
Mm,
reasons. One is like I want to be part of the wave that comes. I want to surf it, not be like afraid of it and get wiped out by it. And also like the closer I am to it, the more I understand what it can do and what it can't, and the more I know what to lean into more for myself, right?
mm,
Does that make sense? Like, oh, it can
yeah,
do this, but not that. So I'm going to lean into that
yeah.
even more. Um, like, I've used AI to make like videos of me, like using like creating like an
Hmm.
AI avatar. And it's like, oh, and it's working in some ways, but where's it not working? Cool. That's where my unique value is. I'm going to lean more into that, you know. Like for example, there's like an eye contact thing where if you like read from a teleprompter and then you can like hit adjust eye contact so it makes it look like you're looking directly into the lens,
Hmm.
right? And it's
Yeah.
like kind of creepy. It kind of works, but it's kind of creepy and weird. And so it's like, oh, like what would it be like if I made a video where I looked even more deeply into the lens and like, like because I can do that better than the AI can. And so it's just a fun game for me right now. And you can check out my Instagram. I've been creating some fun videos recently with AI, some kind of funny ones. Just
I've seen some of
I'll leave
them.
I'll leave it for curiosity. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah. So tell us, when is the event coming up?
Yeah.
How
American
did they?
Shadow. AmericanShadow.com. Super easy to get to. It is November 3rd to the 6th in Singer Island, Florida, so Southwest Florida. So it's a beautiful resort right on the beach. We'll be working together personally. So if you come to the event, it's not like going to be where you're in the back of a room, loads of people. Like we'll be sat in a circle. We'll be in direct conversation for the week. Yeah, you can read all about it there.
Mm, it will
People
be
have questions, they
amazing.
can reach out.
It will
Say that
be
again.
it will be absolutely amazing. I have
Thank you.
no doubt
Yeah.
about it at all. Yeah.
Well, we've had a great time in Circle. I look forward to the next time we're in Circle where you don't have a cold. You were like really struggling through it, but I'm so honored that you stick around for the event last time anyway.
I was lurking on the edges of the
I
circle, but
know.
yeah,
Yeah,
hopefully there'll be another one when I'm feeling fully fit.
of course there will
Mm,
be.
yeah. Thank you so
Thank you,
much for your
Lisa.
time today.
You're so welcome. Thank you.
All right.
All right.